these boys never stop when it comes to the heat, man.
And Carlos has always believed in taking care of his family and taking care of his culture. So working with him has been an honor, it's been a blessing. It's been hard.
Were you with him during his early times, like when before he blew up?
Yes.
How was the struggle for him?
I think his biggest, this is just my opinion, probably his biggest struggle would have been to learn the things that you need to do to be successful when there is no model. There is nobody that you can look up to. There's not one person or one thing that says, do these things in success. There's no model, there's nobody before them. So every mistake you make is a learning experience.
Right.
Dope House and Carlos Coy was one of the very few institutions that was able to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on, I would say, failures to get one success. If I were to do 2 or 3 failures, it'd probably ruin me financially. I'd be like, what's going on? I gotta sell something. I put all this money in and it didn't work. He was blessed enough to where he had the resources and the people who believed in him enough to where we could do a lot of, I would say, mistakes, but then we learned a lot at the same time. So the biggest obstacle was learning how to keep moving forward when everything else kept saying, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be this far. Who are you to be a dropout of school to make millions and to say, I don't need your help. So you don't want to promote me. I don't need all these entities that say you're not what we're looking for.
Right.
Well, I don't have to be what you're looking for. My people is what is looking for.
Nice.
So being a part of that is undescribable, really, to tell you the truth.
Wow. I can't believe you still work with him now. So how does that work? Like, how do y'all click and connect with each other and say, hey, I want to do this project? How does that work? How do y'all make music now?
Well, Carlos has, if I use this comparison, I only use it because it's the only comparison. You have a Tupac that recorded a bunch of stuff before he died. Did he know he was going to die? I'm going to be dead. All these things, all these descriptions about either dead or in prison. How many rappers say that? Mm-hmm. But either it was his work ethic or he knew something. So he recorded a bunch of stuff. Okay? So you hear new things. Now let's move on to Carlos. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. Maybe it was his work ethic, or it could have been a number of things. But he recorded a lot of music outside, and we were able to piece together certain songs. Now, he got locked up, went to county, and he was able to use the phone legally. So legally we can record him, we can do whatever we want. He can use the phone. So we spent years, well not years, I would say a couple of years on the phone. And when I say this is the truth of it all. I pulled 19-hour shifts, 20-hour shifts for 2 years talking to Carlos on the phone, recording him, and getting down exactly what is the element that makes South Park Mexican that allows other people to gravitate towards that. It's not just push this button and do this and it's over. It's getting into someone's head, getting into sharing your soul experiences with the person so that you can still keep putting that music out there. So we recorded a lot of things, and he said, I want half of this verse and this other half, put those two together, find the tempo, put it on a track. Then there's times where he didn't say a word right, or it came out muffled or whatever. We had to literally construct whole words from syllables, which people think are impossible, but it's not. So it took us about 4 years to develop the technology to get him to sound the way it is, considering he's recorded over the phone and studios everywhere else all over the planet. And putting all those pieces together to still give you that element of South Park Mexican, but do it in a way that it's capable of doing. It's hard. I mean, it's difficult. But
how does he feel when he hear? I mean, how does he get to hear after you say you did a song for him, you constructed everything, you fixed it up? Does he get to hear it? How does he feel?
Well, I'm going to give you probably the most recent example. I'm in there. You hear this beat in the background. I go in there, I listen to the song before we get to Carlo, before we go visit him, and we're jamming. I'm getting it. I'm getting it inside, I'm living it. I get to the point where we're saying we do all the pleasantries, then we get back to work. I'm jamming, I'm going with the beat, I'm saying what's happening, kicks, hi-hats, I'm doing these while I'm moving my head, tapping. So now he's getting into it. Then Carolyn, as we're visiting him, will sing a hook. She'll sing his parts, rap his parts. Are you sure I said that exactly there? It's like, I know you said that there because the beat.
Aww,
rewind the beat.
Nice.
Okay, rewind it. What part? Okay, we gotta get back into it.
That's nice.
Carolyn, we're literally just on the phone, and we're touching the glass. We're doing whatever we can to bring that love and that element. And sometimes
y'all can't send him any CDs. He cannot listen to this inside. You have to do it in person.
Yeah.
I mean, not in person, but like.
Well, he can when he gets use of the phone. There's nothing saying that he can't listen to things over the phone.
Okay.
So that's the alternative if he can't use the phone.
I'm sure he loves y'all a lot. He respects y'all.
We love it because we get free performances. I mean, we're like, Carolyn said the other day, it's like, man, we got to see another performance, and he's on there, and he literally is holding the mic, but he's not holding the mic, he's holding the phone. And he's going at it while we're snapping, and then she sings right after. I mean, the song gets performed right there. If there was a way we could record that, it'd be incredible.
If Carlos were to come out, what would you like to see? What would be your visual of him coming back out, and what would you like to see with the Dope House family?
I have really one quote. They hit me up with some years and a small fine. It's gonna be the greatest comeback of all time. What other person in the world, when outside sources say, I'm gonna demonize you to the point where he can't get charged with a weed case, because then he could just write 3 albums of I got busted with weed. Super platinum, they already know that. Well, they can't charge him with murder, because now he's the most murderous gangster, makes 1 million albums. So what could they charge him that would just destroy all of this? So they figured, they hit him with the double whammy. They literally thought, not only are we gonna kill his name, but we all know what happens when somebody goes in prison with that charge. It's serious. But they had no clue about the love of family and the dedication of fans and people who love our culture, trying to just make it, keep moving forward, while everybody's crying and complaining about this thing and that thing. It's too hot, I can't work, I need this thing, you owe me this. It seems like a certain culture is always just moving forward even though they don't have anything. So they underestimated that. They gave him the worst charge they could think of. He walks in there, and even them realize that this was all wrong. So it's a bigger thing than just saying, if he comes out or whatever. It's
gonna have to be.
It's gonna be something else.
It's gonna take a lot for people to see how much love he had. Because I think right now the only people that see how much love he has is his own fans and the people that are in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
People that are outside that don't know the real deal are probably the ones that are pointing the fingers. And it's gonna take a lot of hard work to show those people that are pointing fingers that he is, if you say, innocent, and the love that family does have for him. You're gonna have to work hard. So that's nice. But we can go on and on and on and on and talk about Carlos. So enough about Carlos. About you. Who are you working with right now?
Well, of course, I work with all the Dope House family, but my main people that I've worked with would be like Juan Gotti is I say him first simply because at the time when I got to Dope House, everybody had their own little ways of doing things. And Gotti was in a situation where he was probably not the best candidate for any situation as far as like responsibility or money wise or things. And what I mean by responsibility, I mean he didn't have like the jobs or the infrastructure at his home to really allow a person to
guide him.
To guide him.
Okay.
So, you know, I use this example, and I could use a lot of examples of people I've worked with, but I use this one mainly because it proves a point. In 2003, he was what most people would consider undesirable, outcast, a bum. I had nothing to lose, he had nothing to lose. We both had nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So within everything that had been done, he's considered undesirable bum, and now we're standing and accepting a nomination at the Grammys. I only bring that point up because if somebody says you can't, you're not able to, it's just really an excuse. You can make it, because this guy, he had
What
nothing.
excuse for them? I think those are the people that don't want you to make it. So they're saying that you can't make it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think people say they project what they feel about themselves. If they say I can't do it, or if I were to tell you that you couldn't do something, it would be me projecting because I couldn't. But you know, then there's just a whole slew of people that I've worked with. But Carolyn is a perfect example of someone who was just completely overlooked, just like Juan Gotti.
They're both, those two names that you said, they've both been in the Dope House family for many years.
Yes.
And I mean, when Carlos Coy, got incarcerated, I think those two names actually were the highest. I mean, who would you say that tried hard to keep the Dope House family alive?
Well, I don't think there was any one person, but I can give you a quick summary of
Okay.
what had happened. And this is what I know happened right then and there. When Carlos got locked up, it seemed like the ship was sinking. And so you have two types of people. The people who say, women and children off first, get the women and children off first, they get them on the boats, and then they save them. And those are commendable people. But then you have the other people that say, okay, you got that? While you're getting those people off, I'm going to go to where it's leaking, and I'm going to give you as much time as I can. And a lot of times, those people know they're not coming back. So when Carlos got locked up, I knew I was not coming back. I knew that me going to the hole was going to destroy me. But I could not allow so much of blood, sweat, and tears just be dissolved for no reason because of hatred. And not to mention Carlos's own mother and brother were at a point where we can't let this happen. What can we do? So Carolyn, Gotti, and a person you've already interviewed, Coast, and Slip, Lucky, were some of the few artists that stayed when it hit the fan. So that the other folks who had left, I believe they left to keep their momentum going at the time when they had some good momentum when Carlos was out. See, we didn't have any momentum because we were a small group of just beginners at Dope House, relatively unknown. So who helped keep it alive? I think everybody helped keep it alive, because when Bash went platinum, the same time that he came from a camp who was considered the worst place to be in the world and still went platinum, that said a lot. So he helped out a lot. Gotti and us getting the Grammy nominations, that helped out a lot. Carlos releasing the When Devils Strike, that was just another thing saying, we're not gonna let this die. So to answer the question, the whole family pulled together. You know, we had a small group of people that just stayed and helped patch up while everyone else kept the industry going the way that they could.
Right.
So basically, I believe that we all had a hand in keeping this going. But if I could, since this is an interview about me, it was hard for me to stay there. It was the worst place on the world you wanted to be. I had some friends in the Grammys and in the Billboard associations that were like, you know, Payne, if you pull this off, it's going to mean a lot for your career. But if you don't, it's going to ruin not only your career, but how people view you. And when you have love and compassion for a person and a situation, you don't see that.
Yeah, you don't care about
you just, where's the hole? Where do I patch it up?
That's nice.
You know, so that whole time we were sinking, and as people were watching the boat go down and down, oh, it's going down tonight. Night passes, the next day, okay, well, it's not going to stay afloat another day. And it just stays there. Halfway under, halfway
all
on
that
top.
energy they're wasting speaking that could have been helping, right?
It could have been helping.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely, got the buckets, started bailing the water.
Great illustrator there.
Kept coming up, kept coming up, and I don't have any ill will towards anybody who said, okay, now we can go back. I just believe that once you're back in the situation, you know, give it more than you did before.
Yeah, are you gonna be there the second time around if anything ever hits the fan again?
Yeah, and I didn't really want it to be like, you know, remember this or whatever. I just wanted people to just give it their all again.
Yeah, and that shows good about you. That's good. So thank you so much. Good stuff. Hope you are very happy that you got some insight on some stuff that you shouldn't even know. Nah, but thank you so much, everybody. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.